Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of the EKN Debrief here on the EKN Radio Network. My name's Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. It is Tuesday, March the 16th, 2021. This is episode number 76. The event in question that Dave will be giving us his full report on, the opening round of the United States Pro Kart Series, the Southern Grand Prix, Ocala Grand Prix track back down in Ocala, Florida this past weekend. Tremendous event. Of course, record numbers. That'll be a big talking point as we get set to go. But before we dive into this edition of the Debrief, let's introduce our presenting sponsor, Trinity Karting Group. Trinity Karting Group is your first step on the ladder to racing success. Based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, they literally have a track in their backyard and a controlled environment to develop your skills. Trinity Karting Group flattens out the steep learning curve with a professional staff that will put you on the right path. The focus is driver development, and they compete at the local, regional, and national levels. They have new and used packages available, and they are your Midwest source for Tony Karts and OTK parts, as well as IAME engines. Visit them at teamtkg.com or call 513-421-4463. All right, David Cole, you bailed out of Detroit or out of Grand Rapids. I was going to say you didn't go through Detroit. I think you went a different direction, didn't you? Whatever it was. You bailed out of Michigan. You went south. Beautiful weather. Down to Ocala for the start of the USPKS series, and big numbers. Essentially the headline to get down there.
Yeah, that's essentially what the headline was going into the weekend, and throughout the weekend were the big numbers. Obviously, yes, it was beautiful weather down there, perfect racing conditions, mid 80s all weekend long.
Nice.
Even shorts weather at night, so not even cold during the night hours. But no rain whatsoever throughout the weekend, so that was a major plus. You know, we didn't have to deal with a 5-minute shower or a 5-minute thunderstorm to deal with like we did back in 2019 when we were last there. With the USPKS program. But it was good to get down to Florida for a second time this year already and enjoy what was a record-breaking weekend.
Yeah, so the event in question, March 12th, 13th, 14th, this past weekend down in Ocala, Florida, the track that's been around for a little over 20 years. Opening round of it will be an 8-race program, championship program this year for the United States Pro Kart Series, counting the best 7 events. David, you mentioned you're back down there in 2019. Third time, though, right? I think that USPKS has run at Ocala?
Yeah, 18 and 19 were the first 2 years. Obviously, last year with the COVID-19 pandemic, weren't able to open up the season down there because of that. It was scheduled originally for a March weekend. I believe it was going to be 2 weeks after what was the Pro Tour weekend, Winter Nationals at NOLA, which was actually the 1-year anniversary of the COVID-19 pandemic for especially all of us in the karting world.
Talk about the weekend itself. You mentioned great weather overall. What was the racing like, man? Was there any red flags? Do we have any major incidents? Was there a lot of contact, or was it a pretty solid weekend overall?
Well, as we keep talking about in the outlap, it's the bull ring. It's a Bristol of karting. It's tight confines. So there's contact here and there, but luckily we had no red flags throughout the weekend, so we never had to roll the ambulance. No major incidents. A few incidents into the barriers that surround the racetrack, but other than that, there was no red flags. That was the major thing. No major injuries whatsoever. So
nice.
Again, perfect weather, no red flags. I mean, that's just in record numbers. I mean, that's just three stars right there.
Yeah, what else do you want, right? That's perfect. You mentioned record numbers, 293 in total, staggering amount of drivers jumping on board, drivers' teams. Obviously, the USPKS, people have seen what's been going on. The momentum is there. Numbers breed numbers. People, I'm going, are you going? Well, if you're going, I'm going kind of a thing. David, all told, numbers pretty strong. And in the end, across the board with a couple of late entries in both X30 Junior and X30 Pro, increase in entry in all 7 classes. Let's jump into the by the numbers section and give us a look at what you saw down there in terms of class by class.
Yeah, basically six walk-ups from what we had in our Outlap podcast. So for the pre-entry total was at 287, got up to 293 by the time we began with qualifying on Saturday. So again, just the massive increase was really at the younger divisions with micro and mini, and the KA 100 divisions, as we talked about in the Outlap. Micro was at a record 39 drivers. I mean, that alone right there,
Wow.
in addition to the 41 mini drivers, is telling
That's
you
nuts.
we have
80 cadets.
a great future with this sport, because these kids can't go anywhere else. They have karting for the next, so many years until they get old enough to be able to drive cars. So I think that's good for us in terms of the sport. So I'm really happy to see that. It's just amazing to see that micro number, because we were used to seeing like 8 to 10 drivers here and there.
Yeah.
And now to have 39 drivers, it's just amazing.
Yeah, like you said, David, it bodes well for the next number of years, because remember, guys, micro drivers have to go to mini drivers have to go to junior. We're going to see these 39 drivers ideally, and more of them coming in, working their way up through our internal ladder system. As you said, David, good number growth in both micro and mini. Same for the KA 100 junior and senior class, 48 in KA 100 junior, 60 in KA 100 senior. Maybe even more importantly, in terms of the overall look at the series and what we're seeing coast to coast, even with the big numbers in the KA class, David, no real drop off in the X30, like the 125cc liquid cooled single speed, as you see on the West Coast. Drivers are driving the 100cc air cooled, and they're not running the other category, the water cooled 125. So good to see drivers in both those categories here in the USPKS.
And not many are double duty. You have a few hands, that are doing double duty. Maybe I want to say it was around maybe between 5 or 6 in this, at least in the senior level. Okay. So the X30 Pro has always been the biggest category at this program. It's never had a little bit of a down year when the program was down overall, but it's always kind of maintained that over 30 number. Ever since it's climbed back up from the downswing, but it was over 30 up until that point. So that's never been really an issue. So I think that's where we're kind of going to see, obviously, numbers be there. One, because they continue to give money out for the X30 Pro class. So that's one of the reasons why there too. I think more you see the double duty in the junior categories. Track time is key. A place like Ocala, maybe not so much, but other facilities that are going to require you to be very consistent over and over again, lap after lap. That's where it kind of mends that need to be in the double duty range. So that's where we see a lot of the double duties is in the junior ranks, but still a lot of drivers in the KA 100 senior category to make it up to that 60 mark, which is a series record for total of entries. So again, just solid overall numbers. Again, the lowest category, which is a record for this division, X30 Masters at 26. So the largest X30 Masters field we had, and it's the lowest of the weekend.
And of course, as we said, 60 strong as a high water mark for a single class, 293 in total, a record number in entries. We're underway with this edition of the EKN Debrief, episode 76, giving you a full deep dive into the opening round of the USPKS event in Ocala, Florida. Stay with us, folks. After this break, David will give us some information in the Paddock Pass. The World Karting Association is the only organization on the globe that can provide you with 3 forms of karting, all at one event. Our historic WKA Daytona Kart Week was completed just before the new year began, welcoming record numbers. If you missed out, or if you're excited for the same atmosphere and competition, then add the Charlotte Karting Challenge presented by Summit Racing Equipment to your 2021 racing schedule. All 3 of the national championship programs will be competing at the Charlotte Motor Speedway on April 15th and the 18th in Concord, North Carolina. The Vega Manufacturers Cup Series is hosting 3 straight days of racing inside the famed Charlotte Oval. Our Vega Road Racing Series will tackle the complete Roval portion of the facility, while the Maxxis Speedway Dirt Series will take to the dirt track at Charlotte in a special 2-day event. No matter your age, no matter the discipline, the WKA Charlotte Karting Challenge has a place for you to compete at America's home for racing. Learn more about all 3 programs at worldkarting.com. The World Karting Association, the foundation of motorsports. Acceleration Kart Racing is your first and only stop on the internet for karts, parts, and the safety gear you need to get you on the track. Visit shopakr.com for a great selection of karting equipment on a user-friendly website. Acceleration Kart Racing has aligned itself with many of the top manufacturers and distributors of the sport to ensure all the latest equipment is available to you, the racer. With over 20 years in business and customer support available 6 days a week, you can be confident about getting the right parts at the right price when you need them. Be sure to visit shopakr.com today or stop by their headquarters in Las Vegas. Make sure to follow Acceleration Kart Racing on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest specials and new arrivals. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network and episode 76 of the EKN Debrief, our race report podcast. This edition brought to you by Trinity Karting Group, and we're focusing on the United States Pro Kart Series opening round, the Southern Grand Prix at Ocala, Florida. The event, of course, March 12th, 13th, and 14th. Jumping now into the Paddock Pass, brought to you today by Parolin USA. It all started back in 1994 when former kart driver Albino Parolin decided to move his passion for karting from the track to his small workshop. That's when Parolin was born. Parolin USA is North America's source for Parolin products, and we run a factory team at all the major Superkarts USA, USBKS, and Rock Cup USA events. The Parolin chassis lineup for 2021 includes the Invader Shifter, the Le Mans Tag single-speed chassis for junior and senior drivers, and the 28mm Opportunity model for the cadet classes. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. For more information, head to parolinusa.com. All right, David, Paddock Pass. After this next break, of course, we'll start jumping in class by class. We'll go through the entire race report. But let's get at it right now. Paddock Pass wise, what was going on away from the track?
Well, really, the atmosphere and the early talk about amongst the paddock was just the record numbers being there. Having this large of an event going on. Really, we couldn't really think back to an event this large in recent years. Maybe possibly a WK race, maybe at Daytona or something like that. But it's been, it's larger than any Pro Tour event we've ever had. It's larger than any United States Road Tax Grand Nationals we've ever had. It's got to be up there with some of the Florida Winter Tour events that were back in probably about 5-6 years ago when they had record numbers at that time. So again, just that was the talk, is like, man, I can't believe how big this turnout really is.
Yeah.
And with that turnout brought a number of RVs, campers, all in the paddock. For those who aren't familiar with, or that are familiar with the Ocala facility, there's a big field that kind of is on the western part of the racetrack, where if you're at the grid area, you can see over to where the technical hairpins are. Well, that whole area was filled with RVs. It was prime real estate for a number of people who brought in their RVs. I'm not quite sure. I'm assuming the track had some type of deal worked out with that area of the land to use, but I want to say there had to be at least 35 to 40 RVs just in the paddock area alone. Back in the southern part of it, there was an RV lineup back there that probably had about 10 RVs there, and then over in that field, probably about another 25 alone. So it's just crazy to see.
RV party time.
Yeah. And, so throughout the race weekend, there's, people lined up on the fence outside their RV, Kevin Harvick being one of them, and his wife, Delena, sitting out there watching the racing Friday and Saturday. And he left, obviously, to go to Phoenix on Sunday. But, just, a number of people, a lot of the Texans had a couple RVs there, as well as many others. So just they use that opportunity to kind of be in what appeared to be like somewhat a VIP parking for some of the RVs, but
well, yeah,
different to see that, because I'd never seen that area filled up before.
Well, they didn't. At one point, they didn't own it. Actually, I know that when I was there, like I've stayed at the track there many times for Florida Winter Tour races, whatever it may be. We had my RV, and I was in the back part of the paddock actually area. At that point, they didn't own that part, but I think they bought that over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I don't know the full story, and I wasn't able to. I didn't see Troy from OGP there at all this weekend, so I wasn't able to ask, and I forgot to ask Mark. But there's still that house there, so I don't know if it was like a workout deal where you'll get a little bit of money and the track gets money too. So, or I don't know how it worked, but it was interesting to see that whole place just filled up with RVs, and
Nice.
and so that now that just puts in question what goes on for the future of this program, because you're going to need facilities that have the proper paddock, not only to fill with trailers, but all the many RVs that are coming with a lot of these competitors.
That's a nice problem to have, though.
It is. That's exactly what Eric Jones, talking with him at Kart Sport North America and IME USA East, he's like, this is a great problem to have. I have no problems sorting out which facilities we'll have to go to, or what we'll have to do with even the GoPro Motorplex, because that's his home. And even last year at the numbers we had with 223, it was really tight getting all the trailers into the paddock area that way.
Interesting. David, a number of drivers making debuts for new teams as well. I'm sure that's one of the tidbits you got here in the Paddock Pass.
Yeah, we'll start with the Trinity Karting Group. Obviously came with a big tent this weekend, a number of drivers under that, and kind of the focal point was the addition of a Luca Mars, a Jace Park, Colin Neal to their X30 Pro lineup. Jace Park actually did double duty, so he ran the KA category as well. So again, a weekend. This is kind of their first weekend of mending together, working together, trying to get everybody on the same page and see how everybody clicks together. So it could, as the weekend went along, they progressed, and Mars and Park were able to be there in the top 10 in X30 Pro. So it was good progression for them under the new tent. Another one that was just a recent signing was the Paul Bocuse over to Parolin USA. We'll talk a little bit more about his weekend, but this was his debut weekend with that operation.
All right, what else we got that's cool from the Paddock Pass? I know that I expect you want to talk a little bit about last chance qualifiers. I tuned in for a couple of those as I was working away here in the office throughout the weekend. I know you had LCQs and KA 100 Senior and KA 100 Junior. What else you got?
Yeah, this was the first time the program actually ran last chance qualifiers with the large fields and the short distance of the racetrack. They had to cut the fields down to originally what was going to be was 36. They opted to go to 40. They went with a full field of 40. This allowed the mini category to run all drivers in the main event because they only had 40 drivers in showing up. Excuse me. So they still ran their two pre-finals, which kind of helped. It took the pressure off the field, so it wasn't as massive as what it was for the main event. But they eliminated that LCQ. So the only LCQs we had were the KA 100 Senior and the KA 100 Junior. So rather than 4 transferring up to the main event, they went with 8 from the LCQ. So it kind of gave a little bit of those and LCQ a little bit of hope and some. A little bit more of a gift to get into the main event. But one thing also with the schedule, they typically do 3 laps for qualifying, and because of the large fields, they broke them up, some even into 4 different groups. So the timetable, they were trying to stay on schedule. So essentially what they did, they kind of caught off the paddock a little off guard. The green flag waved as soon as you left the grid. If you're familiar with the racetrack, once you leave the grid, you're actually crossing the start-finish line within probably a football field.
Yeah, exactly, right there.
So that was the start of your first official lap. You'd come around, get another green flag to start a second lap. You'd get a white flag to start your third lap. So it was kind of that boom, boom, boom type mentality, and it caught people off a little bit, at least especially on Saturday, because people didn't pay attention to announcements, of course, and didn't hear what was going on. So it's typically what they do. They do that right away, but most racetracks, when you leave the grid, you do a complete lap before you get to the start finish line. Here, you cross the start finish line right away, and it helps save time. just a little bit to help stay on schedule because it actually ran late both days in qualifying because of the hurry up go and the 4 different or 4 different qualifying groups. So, everybody pushed through and got it done. But that was the one thing is caught people off guard on Saturday, where Sunday, I think everybody was ready and kind of had the mindset of, oh, boom, I need to go lay down this lap and get ready and kind of plan or figure out what they needed to do to be quick in that short a distance.
Yeah, what the strategy was, right?
Strategy.
Strategy. What did it shut down all the bull crap of guys going out and waiting and trying to get in behind the fast guy or whatever it may be? Were people just getting at it? I hate
that helped with, obviously with the 4 groups, splitting up, say the 60 karts in the K100 senior category. It did, space. They do space them out. There are guys who slow up and wait for somebody. So, but no, yeah, that's the great thing. Like we see like the race groups or the qualifying groups that are like 10 minutes long. They don't need 10 minutes. Just go out and hammer down. Right. And that's the one thing that USPKS has done over the last few years is just that 3-lap qualifying. And it seems to work out great.
I love it. That's the way to go. All right, folks, that's the Paddock Pass brought to you again by Parolin USA. Time to dive into our race reports, folks, when we get back after this quick break. We'll start with X30 Pro, and we'll go X30 Junior. David will bring us up to speed on who was quick, who won, who stood on top of the podium, and the like. And we get back to this edition of the Debrief. In karting, it's important to be supported by the right people. With over 40 years of experience in the sport, Trinity Karting Group has everything you need to make your program successful. We do it all, and we do it right. Trackside support and arrive and drive programs are available in 2021 for the USPKS and the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour and Super Nationals with full product sales and service and professional coaching from our experienced staff. Trinity Karting Group is a full-service operation based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, which gives us access to our custom-designed driver training facility. This allows us to offer private, one-on-one coaching to take you to the next level. Trinity Karting Group is also your Midwest home for Tony Kart and IAME, and we're your source for MG and Evinco tires in the region. Tony Kart quality cannot be beat, so call us today to put you in a new chassis for your next event. From arrive and drive and coaching programs to the parts you need, let Trinity Karting Group provide you with customer service and a racing experience second to none. Trinity Karting Group has a long history in the sport, a winning pedigree, and we're dedicated to driver development. We take pride in our professional approach and our positive attitude. Let us build a custom race program for you. Give us a call at 513-421-4463 or check us out online at trinitykartinggroup.com.
A series built by racers for racers. Stars Championship Series. If you're looking for big grids without the stress and anxiety of a national event, then look no further than the Stars Championship Series. Our events are centered around our fun and family-friendly atmosphere, and this season we'll be visiting some of the East Coast's finest karting facilities. We've got 4 stops on the tour in 2021, with opening weekend set to take place at GoPro Motorplex on April 9th to the 11th. From there, we'll head to Newcastle Motorsports Park in June, the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati in July, and then to Pittsburgh International Race Complex to close out the championship in October. While April may seem far away, our season is already underway with our esports division presented by Extreme Sim Racing. You can get your weekly racing fix in our GT or open wheel divisions on every Tuesday or Wednesday by competing against karters across the country for some stellar prize packages, all for free. For more information on how to get on track in the virtual or the real world, check us out online at starschampionshipseries.com.
Welcome back to episode 76 of the EKN Debrief, our race report podcast, all part of the EKN Trackside Live program, presented again by Cooper Tires. Big thank you to Cooper Tires for being on board. We're getting ready to jump in here now, folks, with the race report presented to you today by Kart Sport North America. The Kart Republic is here, and it just keeps on winning. Kart Sport North America is the country's importer and distributor of the Kart Republic chassis, and as a leader in American karting, they're focused on providing stability for the sport and quality products and service for the community. The Kart Republic senior and junior chassis are on fire, and so is the mini kart. which is won in SCUSA, USPKS, and WKA competition. For more information, contact Kart Sport North America, where they offer top quality products, winning brands, and professional driver development services. All right, DC, X30 Pro, like you said, racing for big money, 5G's up for grabs, and as we talked about in the outlap, an absolutely stacked field. Like it was unbelievable how many guys in the top 50 were part of the action at Ocala this past weekend.
Yeah, it was stacked for sure, and everything was really based around where you ended up in qualifying, because we're talking top 7 just on Saturday, separated by 92 thousandths of a second.
Wow.
Again, when you talk about a short track, you're talking like oval times. You're talking milliseconds to where every turn, a millisecond is going to either get you one position or have you lose a position.
And the entire field, David, 1 second, less than a second, I think, right? In qualifying?
Yeah, 1.1 second with 39 drivers. So 37 drivers within 1 second.
Man, that's unbelievable. All right, let's jump in with the headline. Deukmejian and Zilic kick off season with victories. Off you go.
As we said, it was a tight field up front all weekend long, including qualifying, which began with Ryan Norberg out front, setting fast time in that session. As I said, 7 drivers within a tenth of a second. Little action in the pre-final. Norberg and Paulie Massimino got together while fighting for position early on. That sent them back. It allowed Matias Ramirez to go away and score the race win. So he led the field to the green flag for the main event. It was him and Connor Zilic that jumped out to the front, and eventually they were joined by Braden Eves and Ares Deukmejian. Deukmejian actually started 11th in the main event, moved his way forward up into the top 4, and then eventually joined the top 3 drivers. And then once there, kind of moved his way forward up into the lead with about 3 laps to go, and from there was able to hold on to the victory. Ramirez ended up finishing in the 2nd spot, with Zilic standing on the podium for the first time in the X30 Pro division. Braden Eves ended up in the 4th position, with Brandon Jarzakrak, the 4-time defending champion, rounding out the top 5.
That's a pretty solid lineup right there, and a great run, as you said, from 11th for Ares Deukmejian. What about a hard charger?
Hard charger are Weston Workman on the comp cart, another senior rookie. Climbed up 22 spots, 38 to 6 after contact in the pre-final, put him at the back of the grid for the main event. Sunday.
Let's go to Sunday. I was just going to set up for you. Let's go to Sunday, and Alessandro Di Tullio out of the gate pretty strong.
Yeah, new face at the front. Di Tullio was actually in some issues in the pre-final. Not only was it Massimino and Norberg, but other drivers making contact, and I believe he was among those. So didn't really truly get to show the speed that he had on Saturday, but Sunday came back and was on fire early on, setting fast time in qualifying, and ended up holding off the field for the pre-final victory. The main event was a little bit of a different story. After he led the opening few laps, Zilic took over the point, and then from there, Di Tullio kind of just slipped back position by position. Ended up falling back to the 4th spot as Zilic led the way with Ryan Norberg and Deukmejian trailing. They would essentially run that way the rest of the main event, with Zilic able to go on and score his first victory in the X30 Pro category. Norberg 2nd, and Ares Deukmejian in the 3rd spot to round out the podium. Di Tullio, as I said, was in the 4th position, with Matias Ramirez in the 5th spot.
I'm not really sure, David, if we've seen a rookie driver in senior make that kind of an impact as we've seen Connor Zilic at the start of the year, because in SCUSA competition, Rock Florida Winter Tour, now in USPKS, this kid has been on fire.
I had the WK Kart Week down in Daytona as well.
That's
won
right.
the X30 senior class down there. So he's won in all 4 organizations within the first 3 months of the year. Well, first 4 months, I guess, if you count December.
That's unbelievable. That's absolutely impressive. And a $5,000 takeaway, $5,000 cash when you combine the points up, right, David? Overall?
Main event points, correct. Main event points.
So
where you finish in both of the main events sets the money order, with Connor Zilic scoring the $5,000 for first place. Ares Deukmejian in the 2nd spot with $2,500. Mateus Ramirez with 1,500 for finishing third.
Dude, that's big money. That's big
But
cash.
that's a lot of cash.
That's a lot of cash. That's solid. I always, as we do in these, when we have big enough fields, hard charger, David, next 30 Pro on Sunday.
Timothy Carroll with RPM and aboard a Tony Kart moved up 24 spots, 39th to 15th after an opening lap wreck in the pre-final, put him in the back of the field.
Nice for both those guys. 24 spots up for Carroll in race 2, and in Saturday, Weston Workman, as you said, up 22 spots. Both those drivers starting deep in the field and getting themselves up mid-pack. David, let's go to the X30 Junior class. And again, another stacked field, as we said, I think 40 with the walk-up. Here's the headline. Fletcher and Bocuse split rounds.
Yeah, contact was a major part of this class all weekend long, especially in the pre-final. Early on, took out a few contenders and shuffled up the field a little bit. Rowan Gill on the Mike Doty Racing Cosmic was able to set fast time in qualifying, but he got shuffled back early on by Fletcher, and then Fletcher kind of got away from everybody to win the pre-final. Same thing in the main event. Bunched up field was really bunched up as they were kind of driving some defensive lines early on, and Fletcher was able to kind of get away from that and establish a pretty solid lead. And nobody was able to reel him back in as Fletcher went on to score the victory handedly with a wire-to-wire win. Kiki Huena on the Tony Kart, another OGP driver. Fletcher, obviously old OGP driver. Kiki, a new OGP driver, knows the home track really well. This has made his USPKS debut. Was able to win the battle for second. Ahead of Rowan Gill. Cameron Weinberg ended up in the 4th position with Justin Adiconis in the 5th spot.
Nice job on Kiki's pronunciation, David.
That was the only name I could get right.
Good for you. Solid. And yeah, local track knowledge on a smaller track like that. Good for him to be able to be there and a solid run, as you said, for Jeremy Fletcher. Hard charger, David. Paul Bocuse, 40th to 8th. Wow.
Yeah, he was among those that got wrecked in the pre-final. Had to start from the back and moved up 32 spots in 22 laps to get up to the 8th position. Fast laps of the race, and that's very key because he would take that speed over into Sunday.
All right, let's talk about Sunday right now. Jack Jeffers, though, out of the gate strongly with the P1 position in qualifying.
Yeah, he was among those in that contact with Bocuse and a few others. Made the right changes to come out with fast time in qualifying, as you said. But it was Paul Bocuse that was able to win a tight battle in the pre-final, with Jeffers actually getting pushed back to the 8th spot in that race. Main event time, the top 3 kind of got away with Bocuse leading Noah Baker and Jeremy Fletcher. Not very much change of position up front as Bocuse led wire to wire for the victory on the day. Baker ended up finishing in the 2nd spot with Fletcher in 3rd. A great drive by Christian Miles. Kind of overcame some bad stuff on Saturday and came back Sunday with good speed and was able to actually run down the top 3 all by himself, but just ran out of laps to be able to make any kind of attack on a possible podium position. So ended up finishing in the 4th spot with Weinberg rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, solid weekend for Cameron Weinberg. David, a couple of top 5s, pretty solid.
Yeah, good run for him. He's gotten that first junior year under his belt now as a sophomore in the junior category. So again, he has Bocuse, Baker, Fletcher, Weinberg. These are all experienced drivers. Miles now into his first full year in the X30 junior category after running K100 junior last year. So he's got that behind his belt, under his belt as well. But he's certainly found a new home with the Mike Doty Racing team.
Another good move forward. Hard charger Aiden and Grata on the red speed up 29 positions, 38th to 9th. David, more contact in that pre-final?
Yep, that's the reason why he was started back there. 29 spots and 22 laps. You can't beat that.
That's amazing, no doubt. Money-wise, again, main events. Jeremy Fletcher coming out with the cash, big cash in X30 Junior, $2,500. Paul Bocuse, $1,500. And Weinberg, as I had said, a couple of good finishes of 4th and 5th. Good enough for $750. Good money there for the drivers in the junior class, too.
Yeah, it's, that kind of helps keep the numbers. So, kids kind of want to race for money. I don't know why. I mean, it all goes to dad and mom, right?
Mom and dad, you think so? You think so? We don't know how
Yeah,
things work out, though, David.
We'll see. But
All right.
yeah, it was overall, that was probably the category that we had the most contact and the most, not necessarily rough driving, but a lot of bumper to bumper and side pod to side pod.
Copy. All right, folks, another break in the action. When we get back, we'll jump back into the Kart Sport North America race report with KA100 Senior, KA100 Junior, and X30 Master. Stay with us, folks. More to come here on the EKN Debrief. It all started in 1994 when former successful kart driver Albino Parolin decided to move his passion for karting from the track to his small workshop. That's when Parolin was born. Fast forward 20 years, and Parolin's passion for the sport led to the company rejoining international competitions as a factory team in WSK and CIK FIA races, with the aim of enhancing the research and development process, immediately achieving notable results around Europe, North America, and Asia, becoming the CIK FIA Asia Pacific KZ champion in the same year. Parolin USA is North America's source for Parolin products, and we run a factory team at all of the major Superkarts USA and Rock Cup USA events. The Parolin chassis lineup for 2021 includes the Invader Shifter, the Le Mans Tag single-speed chassis for junior and senior classes, and the 28mm mini kart for the cadet classes. Parolin has been winning races all over the world, and it's on top of the podium in the USA as well, with drivers like Kai Sorensen, Mateus Orjuela, and Alessandro De Tullio. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. For more information, head to ParolinUSA.com. Everyone knows that Texas develops winning racers, and the Texas Sprint Racing Series is excited to start the 2021 season to get back to cultivating this talent. The first combined SCUSA and IKF series has been running since 2015 and was started as a grassroots effort to bring family racing back to Texas, has exploded into the largest regional series in the southern region. With 13 classes, including kid karts, and over $50,000 in prizes featuring Supernats and IKF Grand Nationals tickets, there is no better place to come race than the Texas Sprint Racing Series. This year's lineup starts with the winter warm-up at NOLA Motorsports on March 19th to the 21st. The second round, the spring roundup at NTK, will take place on April 16th, 17th, and 18th. Next up will be the summer shootout at Speed Sports on June 11th, 12th, and 13th. And the fourth event is our midsummer mashup at the brand new Kart Moto facility in Crescent on July 23rd to 25th. Our fall finale brings us to another new for us track at Amarillo Kart Circuit on September 10 to 12. As always, our end of the year banquet dinner and raffle will be held on Saturday night of our final event in Amarillo with a free meal and lots of incredible prizes. We hope to see you join the TSRS family. For more information, head to TexasSprintSeries.com. Welcome back to episode 76 of the EKN Debrief. David Cole giving us a full rundown of all the main events and the racing at the opening round of the United States Pro Kart Series down in Ocala, Florida this past weekend, March the 12th to the 14th. Again, Kart Sport North America presenting our race report today. David, let's get started with KA100 Senior. And here is the headline. You can fill in the blanks after this. Zilich earns first on Saturday as Bertignoli named winner Sunday.
Saturday was all nitro kart in this category, with Connor Zillage out front along with Hayden Jones. Ended up with a 1-2 early on, making a lot of noise there, bud.
Yeah, that's where I banged my elbow.
Zillage was able to secure fast time with Hayden Jones in the second spot. When they split the odds and evens for the pre-finals, the top two remained up front, leading wire to wire in both of their pre-final races to fill out the front row for the main event. Zillage was able to get the jump when the green flag waved, and that was all he needed, as he was able to drive wire to wire for his first victory in the KA100 senior division, winning by over 2 seconds. Essentially, it was a race behind him for second, Jones was in the position but got pushed back to fourth after some fighting, as Brandon Lemke, the defending champion, was able to muscle his way up into the second spot. And AJ Myers aboard the Magic, the SCUSA Pro Tour shifter champion, ended up finishing third on the podium as Jones dropped to fourth, and Nolan Allison placed in the fifth spot.
Yeah, solid start of the season for Nolan Allison. You said he finished P5 there, had some pretty good runs at the SCUSA Winter Series event as well. So, again, though, David, let's just take the time here. We'll jump into the hard charger in a second, but another win for Zilich. He's just racking up so many victories right now. This kid is absolutely on fire to start this season.
Yeah, on fire is almost
fire.
It's almost like not good enough to say fire. Like there's got to be something else, with all the winning he's doing. But the only reason he raced KA was the numbers. That was the thing going into the weekend early, before the entry list came out. He wasn't going to run KA 100 senior. I asked him, I said, why are you double dipping? He's like, we can't not do it with the 60 drivers. Everybody else is. So they jumped right in.
I like it. That's good. Hard charger coming from 36 from deeper in the field up to 24th. Austin Osborne, David, last in the LCQ up to fourth. I listened to the entire LCQ, and I think you and I were messaging. He started dead last and made it to P4. Like I was on the move in the last chance qualifier. We
actually have his on board, so we're going to try and edit that a little bit this week to kind of throw up with the audio from Tim Coyne. I when you're out on the racetrack, I can't hear the audio, so I don't know how good it is, but we'll put it on there anyways and just kind of give you a taste of what he ended up doing. And I mean, he was on a charge throughout that LCQ. Again, started last and just muscled his way forward. And again, he said he had a top 20 kart that day and was able to get up to 24th. So a good run by him.
Not bad at all. Let's move into Sunday right now, and Zilich obviously picking up where he left off on Saturday, qualified P1.
Yeah, P1 in qualifying to kind of set the tone and say he's there. But it ended up being Alex Bergnoli scoring the win in the odd pre-final, so was able to get by Zilich in that race. And then on the other side, on the even pre-final, Chase Jones on the MPG Will Power Kart. Jones was actually saved his tires a little bit. Did not race the LCQ after having engine issues in his pre-final on Saturday. Elected to save the tires and not run the LCQ or the main event, obviously, and so got a little bit of an advantage going into Sunday, and took advantage of that in the pre-final to go on to win that, to start on the main or on the front row for the main event. Once the green flag waved, though, it was kind of Lemke that was able to get away from those front row drivers to lead early on in the main event. But Zilich was able to run him down as they kind of went back and forth a little bit. This allowed Bertignoli, who fell back early on, to join the fight late in the race and essentially make it a statement on the final lap. That was what it basically came down to. Zilich leading, final lap, get the white flag. They go through the bus stop, and as they start entering turn 3, Lemke just went for it, dove to the inside as Zilich kind of ran that shifter line. You know what I'm talking about, where you run a straight line to the apex. Well, Lemke went for it and dove as far as inside as he possibly could, jumped the curb. The two made contact as they went through the apex. This, slowed him down immensely, allowed Bertignoli to kind of bump up to his teammate Lemke, push them through and pass Zilich as they went into the left-hand 180. And then from there, the Merlins went 1-2 to the line, with Lemke earning the provisional victory. But after the officials had a few words, Lemke was given a 2-position penalty for that contact with Connor Zilich, thus moving Bertignoli to the top of the podium, moving AJ Myers to second. 2 positions dropped Lemke to the third spot, and Zilich ended up fourth, with Myers getting by him late at the checkered flag. So a little bit of a shakeup in the top 5, with Terlecki winning the battle for the 5th spot.
I'm surprised they wouldn't put Lemke behind Zilich after the contact. That kind of surprised me. I'm sure that was a conversation in the paddock.
Different. Yes, Zilich was kind of questioning that throughout Sunday night, because obviously the guy who caused the issue still finished ahead of him. But again, series have different ways of penalizing. I'm not quite sure exactly, how that entailed. I don't know exactly the discussions the officials had, but the 2 positions was the penalty.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? As long as you stick with your calls, that it works, right? Hard charger Justin White, David, on the comp cart, up 17 spots, started 26th, up into the top 10.
Yeah, it's something about this racetrack. It's like a stock car track. You can find your way through the field if you can get a position every lap. That's for sure.
Well, it's for me, it's always been the 2 hairpins, right? The back-to-back hairpins in the tree turn, you almost have to be wide open. You got to open up the inside to get through the corner well. So it does set up for guys making the move down the inside. So there are some opportunities to pass. Not a lot of them in a track with not that many corners, but there are opportunities for sure. All right, David, let's move to KA100 Junior, and here is your headline. Fletcher takes 2 at home track.
Yeah, as we talked about in the X30 junior category, a number of the veteran junior drivers were kind of the lead drivers throughout the weekend in both categories, especially in the KA100 junior division as well. Noah Baker actually ended up coming out with the fast time in qualifying. This category also split up into 2 different pre-finals. Ended up being Chase Hand that won that pre-final, with Fletcher winning Jeremy Fletcher winning the other pre-finals. So those 2 ended up starting on the front row for the main event. As the race went on, it ended up actually being Danny Zizalski who showed the speed and was able to get away from everybody after some early fighting. Zizalski was able to drive away and come across the line as the provisional winner. Unfortunately, he was removed following tech and thus taking the win away from him.
Ooh, ouch.
That would thus give Fletcher the victory, as he was able to drive away from the rest of the field and essentially win the race. Parker DeLong ended up finishing in second in his rookie debut. Sebastian Weldon, another junior rookie, in the 3rd position. Xander Reed aboard the Paralin, coming back from racing in Europe, to finish 4th, with Helio Meza in the 5th position.
Nice job for Elio there. Hard charger Cooper Shipman up 18 spots.
Yeah, another junior rookie, moving up from the mini ranks, and was able to win the LCQ that got him into the main event, and he took advantage of it, moving up 18 spots from 33rd to the 15th position.
All right, solid. Well done. Let's go to Sunday now. Based on the notes you've got down here, looks like Fletcher had, I don't say an easier day of it, but he was definitely the player all day long.
Yeah, not necessarily easy, but yes, he controlled things when he was on the racetrack, setting fast time in qualifying, going out and winning his pre-final. Noah Baker was able to win the other pre-final, so they set up the front row for the main event. Fletcher and Baker kind of fought early on, but Fletcher was able to kind of get away as the race moved on, and was able to go on to score the victory. Dzizelski ended up coming up and getting by Baker and others for the 2nd position, but was given a pushback bumper penalty. So that dropped him off the podium down to 4th. That moved Sebastian Weldon up to 2nd for a 2nd podium of the weekend. And then Austin Jers getting his first podium of the year after a tough SCUSA Winter Series program for him. Able to was quick all weekend long, just wasn't able to be right there for the podium, but did so in the on the Sunday main event for KA100 Junior. Baker ended up actually getting pushed back to 5th, with as I said, Dzizelski down to 4th after that pushback bumper penalty.
I think you go back and listen to our outlap, and I mentioned Austin Jers as being one to watch as well in that KA100 Junior class. So check mark for Rob on that one, bud. P3.
Oh, don't. Anytime you want to do a challenge, we'll do podium challenge. I'll surely beat your butt on that. But
right,
yeah,
how about the hard charger in that one?
Well, I just want to say Jers is among those that into his 2nd year now in the junior ranks, so definitely has that experience now. Just needs to put it all together. Hard charger Grayson Upchurch. I think I wrote the name wrong. Upchurch, the 3rd.
Yep.
Aboard the Tony Kart, 14 spots, 35th to 21st. Was involved in a pre-final wreck and ended up finishing 3rd in the LCQ, so got himself into the main event and almost to the top 20.
Nice, man. That's solid. Good work. David, you mentioned the fact that some pretty good numbers actually in the X30 Masters class, 26 in total, which is great. Here's the headline. You can fill us in on the battle with the drivers in Masters. Barrios and Kopp begin record weekend on top.
Yeah, again, record weekend, meaning the largest field they've ever had for the X30 Masters division. And again, this category is almost like the X30 Pro, where you got 10 or more drivers that are capable of being up front, especially at Ocala with a lot of the RPG drivers being up front at their home track. Danny Robertson, Robert Mayer, those guys were quick, and all the rest of the RPG drivers were quick as well, along with Mario Barrios, who joined the team this weekend. Essentially, though, everybody was chasing Scott Roberts early on. The Florida driver was able to set fast time in qualifying and win the pre-final. Main event time, though, they were able to kind of keep him within reach, and it was Mario Barrios who was the driver that put on the pressure. The two of them kind of went side by side on the exit of turn 5 on lap 15. Contact put Roberts into the barriers and into the grass, essentially out of it, and that allowed Barrios to secure the top spot as he was able to hold off Danny Robertson for the victory. And what I believe this is Barrios' first USBKS race, so a win in his debut. As I said, Robertson in the second spot with defending champion Scott Kopp in the third position. 2019 champion David Galawina on the comp kart in fourth, with 2018 champion Laurentiu Mardan on the techno kart in fifth.
Nice. How about hard charger in that one?
Hard charger, Paul Montopoli, comp kart, moved up 10 spots, 25th to the 15th position.
All right, so let's move to Sunday. And the interesting thing about Masters, you never know if a driver's going to go on a sweep, if they're going to be good for the entire weekend long, or if somebody else comes calling the next day. Robertson coming out of the gate as the top qualifier to start Sunday's action. Yeah,
laid down the hammer in qualifying, was able to set fast time and led the drivers to the green flag for the pre-final. But it ended up being Kopp that just had a little bit more pace than everybody else in the pre-final, came up from the fourth position to take over the top spot and go on to win the race. And that was the winning move of the weekend, or of the day, as Kopp went wire to wire in the main event out to a 1.1 second advantage in the 22 lap final. Roberts, the fight behind him was pretty heated. Robertson ended up finishing in the second spot as Scott Roberts was promoted up into the third position. Mario Barrios ended up crossing the line third, but was given a pushback bumper penalty that dropped him back to fifth position, with John Robichaux having his best performance that I can recall at USBKS competition, driving up to fourth. So 1, 2, 3 RPG Masters drivers in the top 5 on Sunday.
Yeah, solid outing for the Rawls Performance Group guys. Hard charger this one, David. Adam Pettit on the solo kart up 14 spots, 24th up to 10th. Contact in the pre-final. Did you happen to see what happened there?
Yeah, both solo kart drivers, Pettit and Sparacino, right? Sparacino. Yeah, just they could not get any luck all weekend long. And it ended up being the main event on Sunday, where they were actually where they probably should have been, which was trailing the lead pack all race long, with Pettit in the 10th spot and Sparacino in the 9th position. So they had the pace, just didn't have the luck all weekend long until the end of the weekend.
Yeah, it's always tough, especially a track like Ocala, as you said, David. You get you're mired mid-pack, and you're the back of the pack. You're always battling hard, and all it takes is one little piece of contact, and you find yourself off track. All right, folks, another break of the action. When we get back, we'll wrap up our race report, again presented today by Kart Sport North America, with detailed reports for Mini Swift and Micro Swift. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience, and we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at www.franklinkart.com, where all our products are just a mouse click away. We're constantly adding to the growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, ceramic products, driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, OTK products, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. Experience and passion. That's what led to the launch of AMAX Racing. Owner Charles Maxwell began AMAX Racing in 2015, expanding the operation in 2019 with a focus on driver development for racers of all age groups and backgrounds. From top-level drivers to grassroots racers or families looking for a team that will help them achieve their goals, AMAX Racing can guide you with the absolute best trackside service at affordable prices. No matter the chassis, AMAX Racing welcomes you and has the experience to put you on the top of the podium. You can join the AMAX Racing family in 2021 at the Cup Karts North America, United States Pro Kart Series, and WK Manufacturers Cup Series, along with selected local events at Whiteland Raceway Park and Newcastle Motorsports Park. For more information, contact them at 317-437-5886 or find them on Facebook. AMAX Racing. All of your karting needs under one tent. Welcome back to episode 76 of the EKN Debrief. It's David Cole giving us a full race report of the opening round of the USPKS, which held this past weekend, March the 12th, 13th, and 14th in Ocala, Florida. Let's jump now into the Mini Swift class. We have only two more categories to go here in the race report. Here's the headline for Mini Swift. Photo finishes end with Vidmontien and Ardiles winning. Sounds like some excitement.
Oh, excitement all at the end. It looked like, some drivers were going to be able to kind of pace the field and score victory, but it ended up being photo finishes both days in the category. John Antonino came across from California to his first USPKS race and set fast time in qualifying, but unfortunately that was the only time we saw him at front of the field. In his pre-final was dropped back as Reagan Seville out of the Speed Sports tent was able to score his the pre-final victory, while Diego Ardiles in the Tony Kart was the other pre-final winner. So we had two new names up at the front of the field for the main event. Ended up being Enzo Vidamonti, though, that was able to kind of secure the lead about halfway through the race. Looked like he had a pretty good gap, but it ended up, Ben Mayer was able to run him down lap by lap. They got closer and closer. Then the last lap of the main event kind of went toe to toe with each other, back and forth through the 180s. And as they came to the checkered flag side by side at the line, it was a close photo finish. Really too hard to tell. Unfortunately, we're not directly in front of the start finish line, so we have no idea what happened. But the orbits showed Vidamonti ahead by 7 thousandths of a second ahead of Mayer. And then talking to Mayer after the race, they found out that their transponder was on the seat and not the side pod. So there could be, there was a little bit of stipulation on, who exactly was ahead at the line, but officials went by the scoring loop, and whoever crossed that scoring loop first was the victor, and ended up being Vidmontien. So
Vidmontien with the win. Wow.
Yeah. So Ben Mayer's dad was a little upset at himself, knowing that he should have had the transponder on the side pod, but didn't. So chalk one up for the dad making the mistake on that one. Oliver Weldon completed the podium in the third position. Diego Ardiles was in the fourth position, with Tyler Roberts scoring the fifth spot.
And the hard charger, David, a move from deep in the field, 41st, how many we had in Mini Swift? Total of mini Swift was
41st, 41.
So dead last.
Dead last.
Diego Guillot, I think is it. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that myself.
That's how I was going to say it. Guillot.
16 spots, 41st, dead last, up to 25th.
Yeah, good drive for him.
Probably had some fun passing cars.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
right?
that's what it's all about when you start last, right? I've done it a few times, right?
You have, David. You have. All right, to Sunday, Diego Ardiles, perfect on the day.
Yeah, looked really good on Sunday. Came out setting fast time in the qualifying session. Drove away for the pre-final win. Ben Mayer was in the other pre-final. He was able to control the pace in that race as well, too. So that matched those two up along with Saturday's winner, as the top three were able to kind of get away from the rest of the field. They kind of sized each other up throughout the race, and then it was a mayhem on the last lap, including some 3-wide action going through the hairpins at the far end of the racetrack. They finally came around to the final corner with Mayer leading going into the final corner, but a slight bobble with, I think what he was running was the defensive line. Just did not get the momentum out of the last corner. That allowed Ardiles to slide into the inside and edge him out at the line by 32 thousandths of a second.
Ouch. Well, good for Ardiles. Tough one for Ben, but man, what a great last lap. That would have been fun to watch, I would think.
It was fun to watch. They all went for it, and unfortunately Ben made just a slight little mistake that cost him the victory. And again, having 2 losses by less than 0.05 of a second, it's pretty tough. Right. But overall, you have to look at it. It's a good points weekend. 2 second place finishes, so we'll see how he does. Vidmontien was a close third. I think all 3 karts finished within 1/10 of each other at the line. Roberts was able to move up 1 position, Tyler Roberts, to the 4th spot on Sunday, with Antonino getting into the top 5 finally at the end of the day on Sunday.
Hard charger in the mini Swift category, Salvador Della Vecchia on the Parolin. 22 spots, David, from 37th up to 15th.
As we said, get your money's worth. You get 1 position every lap. That's what he did.
All right, let's move to the micro Swift class now. And here's your headline. Malkut and Harvick split micro wins to start season. Dave, there are a lot of really good young micros right now that we're seeing run up front at all these races.
There are, and going in, we knew these 2 names were going to be there, along with the other ones that we'll talk about in the top 5 as well. But these 2 were certainly the class of the field on Saturday, with Malkut setting fast time in qualifying, while Harvick came back to win the pre-final. The top 2 battled all race long, kind of back and forth. Ended up with a last lap pass by Malkut on the final circuit to be able to edge out Harvick for the victory and score what I think is Malkut's first USPKS victory of his career. Harvick had to settle for second with Augustus Toniolo on the Cosmic in third, Alessandro Truchot in fourth, with Ethan Tovo in the 5th position.
Hard charger, Paul Hart on the Red Speed, 37th up to 23rd. Again, 14 spots forward and getting some work done over the length of that race.
Yeah, again, 39 drivers in this field, so a lot of room to improve. If you had a tough pre-final, as I believe Hart did, to start at the back and got his money's worth and probably learned a lot of passing that race.
All right, give me the breakdown on Sunday. Obviously, Malkut on the pole on Saturday ends up with the win. Harvick on pole on Sunday. How did it go for young Keelan?
Yeah, Harvick on pole with the fast time in qualifying. Didn't end up winning the pre-final, though, as Matteo Rousseau on the Nitro kart decided to step things up on Sunday. Came away with the pre-final win. Rousseau was among the top challengers, along with Malkut and Toniolo. Essentially, Harvick did not want to not lead. He wanted to lead every single lap. Every time he got challenged, he struck right back. And if they weren't striking, he was kind of running a little bit of a defensive line in a couple of the hairpins. So really wanted to keep that lead and kind of bunch things up with Malkut and Rousseau. Rousseau ended up being the aggressor of the challengers. was in the second spot on the last lap, tried to make a move at the inside of the tree corner, made a slight contact with the rear bumper of Harvick, which slowed Rousseau's pace down. That allowed Malcutt to go through from third to second. And that contact just kind of gave Harvick enough distance to get to the checkered flag before anybody else did, and score his first USPKS victory. Malcutt ended up finishing in second. Augustus Toniolo was able to slip past Rousseau for the third position on the podium, while Ethan Tovo added another top five finish.
Another strong driver coming from deep in the field as well. Marco Romero on the Benek, 20 spots up, starting deep in 32nd. Able to actually work his way up into 12th position, David, and potentially even get to the top 10. So all in all, a really good run for Marco.
Yeah, just short of that top 10 finish, but still a great drive to, again, get one position every lap.
All right, folks, final break in the action. When we come back after this, we'll wrap things up from this edition of the Debrief. We'll have a look at the Constructors' Championship, let you know how many different chassis won and how many races they actually won. And we'll wrap things up with a preview look at the EKN Trackside Live race calendar, where David Cole and I are going to be in the months of March, or the remainder of the month of March and the month of April. Stay tuned, folks. We'll wrap it up after this break.
Located in Mooresville, North Carolina, on-site at GoPro Motorplex, Kart Sport North America features over 6,000 square feet of retail space. Along with being the official race team and distributor for the Kart Republic chassis, they offer full retail sales, Kart service and storage, and products from the top brands in the sport, such as CZ Chain, Talon Sprockets, SKF bearings, and Prisma tire gauges. If you want to take your racing to the next level, they also offer driver training and coaching programs available trackside at GoPro Motorplex. They have a massive inventory, so head to their online store at kartsportna.com to get same-day shipping of the parts and components that you need. While you're there, check out their used section of karts, engines, parts, and accessories. Kart Sport North America. Top quality products, winning brands, and professional driver development services.
You can buy all the latest and greatest products on the market, but when you're karting to win, it boils down to one thing: you, the driver. Gain the knowledge and abilities by investing in yourself at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, and you'll find those extra tenths of a second you need to put yourself on the podium. The school was established by SuperKarts USA Hall of Fame driver Alan Rudolph, with decades of victories and championships in multiple forms of the sport, including other disciplines of racing. The Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, located at the Speed Sports Racing Park in the metropolitan Houston area, is designed to teach driving skills at all levels. The instructors of the Academy have decades of racing experience and educating drivers of all ages. Classes at the Academy will teach the concepts and skills needed both behind the wheel and off the track. From the beginning kart racing experience and intro to karting courses, to their advanced 1-day and 2-day courses and karting clinics, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy can improve the skills of any driver. For more information on the specific programs that the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy can provide for you, head to speedsports.com and click on the Racing Academy page. Be sure to follow the Academy on social media by searching for Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Welcome back to episode 76 of the EKN Debrief here on the EKN Radio Network, or on any of the podcast outlets that you like to use. This is the United States Pro Kart Series. That's the event in question today. David giving us a full report on his trip down to Ocala, Florida. David, let's wrap things up. Bottom line is, largest event in the 9-year history of this series.
Yeah, starting out the 9th year with a record turnout. Very historic for this program and the sport as well. You know, as I kind of mentioned in a morning column that I put up Saturday, a year anniversary of the COVID-19 pandemic hitting our sport. While it's been a very challenging and difficult year, it's been a positive one for our sport. We've kind of come together and realized how much we enjoy and how much we love the sport, and people are flocking to it. New people are coming in. people are just going racing because they know, you got to enjoy it while you can. I think that's kind of the mantra. And people are doing that with our sports. So we're seeing record turnouts, not only in this program, but other programs as well too. So it's a great way to kind of what we ended 2020 with some strong momentum, and we've certainly continued that into 2021.
Big money too, David, which is huge. We talked about it a little bit. $5,000 to win in X30 Pro, but over 14 grand in total?
Nearly $14,000 handed out in cash to those two categories on the weekend. So we'll have the same thing at Newcastle. We'll have the same thing at Road America, and we'll have the same thing at GoPro for the series finale. So, it's a lot of cash going to be handed out by MG Tires and IME USA East.
We're always looking at numbers, right? 100 for a good club race, 150 for a strong regional program, 200, for that national series is big. Get over that 200 mark. 250 means, you're a rock star. Anything over 250s, you're one of the 5 or 6 biggest events of the year. What about 300? We saw 300 at the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. Think USPKS can get 300?
I think that's the challenge, to see if, we really hoped we could get that in Ocala this weekend. We did get some walk-ups, but we just didn't get enough to kind of reach that 300 plateau. What's going to happen when, the borders do open, or how many Canadians are going to come down and be part of this program, or how many more locals can we get at Newcastle? We know Newcastle and the Midwest area have a number of racers who might not have traveled to Florida. How many of the Florida drivers are going to travel up to Newcastle? So that's kind of, what are we going to get when we get to the next round, or when we get to the other events on the season? Can we at least match this mark, or can we get even further?
Yeah, it's just amazing all told. And as we said, numbers breed numbers. You see those many people down there. You want to be down. You want to be part of it. Anybody who wants to be part of a big program. We see the growth, whatever it may be, and people go into the Supernats, or we said Cup Karts North America, Grand Nationals, or the Battle of the Brickyard. You don't want to miss an event like that. David, let's wrap. So as we start to wrap up, let's have a look at the Constructors Championship. Interesting because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different karts getting race wins.
10 different brands getting race wins on the weekend. Typically, we don't see that at USPKS. We see it, a little bit more condensed, but this weekend was different. Record numbers, so number of different brands, but EOS picking up 3 with Jeremy Fletcher alone, so that helped that brand lead the way. Kart Republic picking up 2, one with Arez Umedjian and another with Isaac Malcutt. Red Speed with 2 with Connor Zillage picking up 2 of his wins. And then we have Benick, Esprit, Cosmic, Merlin, Nitro Kart, Parolin, and Tony Kart, all with 1 victory.
All with a victory. Wow, that's a good cross-section. All right, folks, we're going to wrap things up here and have a look at where David Cole and I are going to be over the next month and a half with what is now our wrapping EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar presented by Leading Edge Motorsports. Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer to winning in karting. At the helm is industry veteran Greg Bell, who has orchestrated the success of countless drivers dating back to the mid-1990s. Leading Edge Motorsports is the West Coast importer and factory team for IP Karting, which manufactures the ultra-competitive Praga and Formula K chassis brands. Leading Edge will be trackside at the SuperKart USA Pro Tour, California Pro Kart Challenge, Stars Championship, and Rock Cup events in 2021. Contact us today to book your spot under the tent. Visit leadingedgemotorsports.com for more info, or find them on Facebook and Instagram. At Leading Edge Motorsports, winning never gets old. Well, David, it's been a couple years since you and I have had to do the double, where I'm on one coast and you're on the other. Well, in a couple of weeks' time, March the 26th, 27th, 28th, you'll be in Sonoma, California, and I will be in Avondale, Louisiana.
Wine country, Sonoma, In-N-Out Burger. What's the sandwich place?
Angelo's.
Yes. So get some good of that salsa.
Yep.
I'm going to be eating
Why
good.
are you there? What race are you going to be at?
Oh, that's right. Sorry. I thought we were only talking about food at this point. My bad. Challenge of the Americas, the series finale. Sonoma Raceway. rounds 5 and 6 of the program. We're going to crown this year's champions. And believe me, all the categories are going to go down to the wire. Nobody, aside from junior rock, I believe that's the only class that we don't really have a championship fight, but all the other divisions going to go down to the wire. New layout, no more tic-tac-toe. We're going to bypass that and do a 180 there. So that'll kind of throw a wrench at everybody to kind of see how that races and see how, the track, the times that people are able to throw down and see how it races. So should be a fun and interesting weekend.
Yeah, it's March 26th, 27th, 28th. David, as we said at the Challenge of the Americas finale at Sonoma Raceway, and myself, NOLA Motorsports for Cajun Cooking, Company Burger. Yeah. And the Superkarts USA Pro Tour Winter Nationals. The start of the Pro Tour, where everything shut down last year. We're going to try to get back there, press the reset button. Again, it'll be a double deal, folks. We'll be on EKN Live 1 and EKN Live 2, so we'll be streaming both. David will have Tim Chapman on the PA. Alicia will be with me at NOLA Motorsports for that event, the opening round of the SCUSA Pro Tour. Obviously hoping for two big events, and of course, we got to be at both, David. So you're on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast.
Don't forget Moe's Pizza too.
I don't know if we'll probably go to Moe's.
It's right there by the racetrack.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
It's good pizza. That's what I remember from last year because that was the only dinner I had.
That's right. Little later on there, April the 30th to May the 2nd. Nothing actually going on in April. David, you're back at it with the United States Pro Kart Series, their next round, April 30th to May the 2nd. As you mentioned, Newcastle Motorsports Park in Newcastle, Indiana. That could be a big, big, big race.
Again, we'll have to see, if everybody returns, how many are going to return, and then all the new people that are going to join because the season will be finally underway here in the Midwest. We'll have some warmer weather. Hopefully it'll be a good weekend for weather at the event. We'll see where we end up for numbers, but it's still going to be a big, big, big race.
And again, this is the EKN Trackside Live Calendar, always presented by Cooper Tires. So big thank you to Cooper Tires for being on board. Trackside Live means we got our live streaming. I mentioned that we didn't have anything there in the month of April, but we won't have a live stream. But David, you're going to be doing something a little different, something the first time that we've done it. EKN Trackside coverage, though, on April 16th, 17th, and 18th as part of the big event by the WKA, the Charlotte Karting Challenge at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Concord, North Carolina. Normally, we'd be covering maybe the Man Cup, but this time something different. The WK has asked us to focus on road racing. So, David, you are going to be all in. You're going to be with the National WK Road Racing Series. This is going to be cool for you. It'll be a little different, back to your roots because you're a road racer, and it's cool because we're finally going to be giving all those road racing stars an opportunity to get some coverage on EKN.
It's going to be nothing new for me. It's going to be new for our viewers. Those who aren't familiar with road racing. This is going back home. This is where I got my bread and butter. This is where I learned how to get beat all the time. But no, it'll be good to be back with a lot of familiar faces that I've known since I was a youth. The two Utes. That's the Utes. But it'll be good to kind of give that form of karting some exposure. Again, we do the best we can with what we have. We can't be at every single event, every single weekend throughout the year. And we kind of rely on people to help us and provide for, information alone, just results alone would be great. So we'll be trackside all weekend long, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, kind of just, educating you on road racing stuff that happens on, formats, and obviously we'll promote some of the winners. We'll do daily race reports as well too, and do a lot of obviously stuff on social media as well.
I love it, folks. Again, that's the Charlotte Karting Challenge for the WKA on the April 16th, 17th, 18th, David?
Correct.
I changed my sheet. That's it. Awesome, folks. It's going to be a great one. And again, EKN trackside coverage there. So David will be trackside, and that wraps things up here from today. USPKS, what a tremendous start to the season. 293 entries. We had the Outlet podcast, the preview last week. This is the debrief. We've wrapped things up, folks. So we'll put a cap on the opening round of the USPKS. David will be there at the end of April again at Newcastle to head to round number 2. Thank you so much for joining us here, folks. Big thank you to Trinity Karting Group for presenting our show here today. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.